Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Amir Shahsavari of the Small Property Owners Association, extending you warm wishes for Christmas, Hanukkah, and all other holidays this season. For the past 5 years, it's been my privilege to serve as the Vice President of SPOA until earlier this month when I was elected to be the next president of the organization. I'd like to thank the board once again for their confidence and their support, and I'd like to thank our outgoing president, Allison Drescher, for her years of service. Our new Vice President, Tony Lopes, and I are excited to begin the next chapter in SPOA's legacy, defending property rights and proposing reasonable solutions for housing that help tenants, owners, and all other stakeholders. Earlier this summer, we suffered a setback when the state government rushed to implement the controversial broker bill without giving it a chance to be heard before the legislature for a hearing, and without even contacting and communicating with the small business community to hear our concerns. Following this event, we held a rally outside the State House to let our concerns be known. And following that episode, with all the energy it produced, we're going to need that same level of energy to combat the rent control ballot initiative in the new year. As all of you know, rent control was a disaster for Massachusetts. It reduced the supply of housing, thereby bringing up the cost of rent for tenants, while increasing the operating costs for property owners. Maintaining properties became virtually impossible, leading to disrepair. Meanwhile, a lot of tenants who needed rental housing couldn't find it because of the reduced supply. Harsh rules imposed by draconian rent control boards also made it practically impossible for property owners to manage their properties in a reasonable way, whether it meant evicting tenants when evictions were warranted or making repairs when those repairs were needed. We have our work cut out ahead of us as far as educating the public, because it's all too easy for the other side to make rent control seem like it's harmless. But we know better. We know how difficult it is to maintain properties safely in an environment where operating costs continue to rise exorbitantly for us, in an environment where there are constantly other proposals for raising taxes, in addition to the challenges faced when we see our rising energy bills and other costs. That's why it's important to follow us at www.spoa.com/join. Please become a member, and please consider giving us a donation, because we really need your help going into the new year. It's also vital to educate people about what rent control really is. It's not an affordable housing option. It's really a political scam perpetuated by radical activists who wish to gain political control over housing decisions rather than solving the housing dilemma. And in the proposed bill, which requires all 351 cities and towns to adopt it without an opt-in provision, they claim that they have already exempted small property owners. But when you look at that artificial carve-out, they're referring to people who own 4 apartments or less while residing inside their rental properties. These people, while small, make up a very tiny minority of the small property owner population. And you'll notice that the ones who come out to speak to the press are in fact tenant activists who have nothing to worry about given that the policy won't apply to them. What about the small owners who own 4 units or less who don't actually live in their rental properties? What about the other owners who own 5 units or 6 units, or 10 or 20? Why should they be lumped in with all the huge mega organizations like Avalon Bay, who own many units and many offices filled with many personnel, not only in Massachusetts, but in other states and other countries? There's a huge gap in the middle that excludes the vast majority of small business owners, lumping them in with those huge conglomerates. That's why education is so crucial to our effort to overturn this ballot initiative. In early January, you'll receive an email from us inviting you to a discussion where the company that's working with us to oppose this ballot initiative will give us the critical information that we need to know while giving you tips on how you can help, not just by giving us donations, but by volunteering as well. In the meantime, we encourage you to keep following our newsletters and our podcasts and the emails that we send out for more information. We hope you'll join us to fight for the greater good. In the interim, I hope you enjoy the holiday season. I look forward to working with you in 2026, along with everyone else at SPOA, and may God bless all of you.